Today's special guest is a tenacious human resource manager, an impactful mother, and a dope-ass spoken word artist. Y'all give it up for the one and only Miss Letitia. How you feel about the intro? That was good.
That was good. I don't know where you get all the words from. But
listen. I had to make sure, I set the stage correctly for, the storyteller, the amazing storyteller that you are for people to receive.
Stop it.
Listen,
You gassed me up. Thank you.
That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. How you feeling today?
I feel good. I feel real good.
Feel good?
I feel good.
Okay. How does it feel, to kind of get that piece off of you, What energies you've got it feeling leaving in the air right now?
I'm feeling like I'm empowering the world.
It was some heavy feeling. It was some heavy tension in here, but you definitely did the thing, and you've been enjoying the experience so far.
So far, so good.
What's up? I'm excited for our subscribers and viewers just to know you, because people in the community, of course, they see you around, but I feel like a lot of times with spoken word artists, people don't get to know who we are. They just see what we do.
That's true.
So you were definitely someone I definitely had in mind about bringing on the podcast. So I'm glad you accepted the invitation. Because
I say no.
Right. What? The whole no poem is a real thing. So
it's real. Very much so.
No, so I appreciate you accepting the invitation. So I'm ready to get started and see, but the viewers can know more about who Letitia is. So tell us, who is Letitia?
Oh, so I'm a mother, but even before being a mother, I'm a woman. Like women first always. And I have to recognize that myself sometimes too. I'm a hard worker, and I just so happen to do poems.
Just so happens. Here and there.
It's here and there every now and again, Some years is better than others. This year is a good year.
Yeah.
But I love hard, which makes me, not like most people, because I can't get all of this love all the time.
That's real. Better say that.
Absolutely. I tell people hey, I'm paid to be a people person, but I am not actually a people person. And this. I will sit quietly and not know anyone in the room. Stand on stage, do my poem, and be like, all right, this is
time that out. Sometimes that be the energy, So I definitely understand. What is being a woman in this artistry to you?
It get tough. I think from when I started, everyone wants their hands on you to help mold you and sculpt you, and you're the girl on the scene, the new girl on the scene, is hey, you got to stand firm on your ground. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to advocate for yourself. And that I had to learn through that completely. I had never been someone that stood on, myself, my business, my art, my craft, my words alone. I had been super, super quiet. It wasn't until I had my kid that I was new woman. Nah, I am mom now. I got to represent for my kid. And now everybody get, it's deuces to everybody. I will stand on my word all the time.
What was the woman like before you had a kid?
Oh, I was super shy and quiet
But that's still you to an extent.
Yeah, but I think people see it differently now. Now my quietness, when I do open my mouth, it's blunt, it's honest. It comes out aggressive and harsh. So I do keep it, quiet as often as I can, because I don't want to come out so assertive, so rude, especially coming from a woman. It's gonna come, black girl rude, and I'm no, that's not it. I'm just being honest. If you don't like my honesty, you don't have to hear it. You don't have to be a part of this conversation. Prior to that, it was, hey, I will just be quiet. I will not participate. I don't want to get into any back and forths. I will stand down. Talking to people would make me cry because I couldn't, I didn't feel comfortable speaking up for myself. Had my kid, it was flip the switch. I was different. I'm oh no, y'all about to hear me.
I heard my good friend we know, Alexis Lawson, at her Black Hand, she said that literally, she's when
that's my best friend.
Go ahead with your best friend, right? She literally said, when she became a mom, she saw everything different. She looked at the world different, everything.
Yeah.
she looked it different. And I think like that's the first thing I thought about when we was talking about,
Absolutely.
which is different.
It's not about me anymore. It's about the impact that other people have on my child and my ability to be a mother to her. It's very hard for me. Like, I think about her in every single thing that I do. So sometimes I forget that I'm an individual, right? It's like, no, I'm always on mommy duty. If my kids are in the room, mommy, 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 you know, I'm very, you know, aware of her presence.
Yeah.
And that's my job. And it's a proud job. Like, I love my job as a mom, but I still have to recognize in order to be a good mom, I have to be a good woman. I have to be a good human. So I do have to, you know, take that time for me sometimes. But in her mind, now mommy time is me time.
Well,
why are you getting your nails done? Let's go. We can go get our nails done together.
That's a good standard, though. That's what you said. And, you know, even, and it's so crazy because when I met you, that was a standard that I met from you. Like, you was, I'm standing on my principles. I'm a mother, you know, I'm here, and my little one right here with me. You know?
Little coach.
For real. And who is not afraid to voice her opinions as well.
Oh, yes. It gets so worse. It's gotten worse. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. She is, you know, a part of me. And if you can't accept her with me, you know, oh well. There are some spaces that I do not walk into if she's not with me. And I got to recognize that. Like, hey, if a venue don't give me the right vibes to bring my kid, chances are I'm not going to be able to come. Like, she's an extension of me.
That's good.
The content in the room, she knows how to regulate it. She's not going, you know, to school reciting people's poems, you know, talking, you know, crazy.
Nah.
She's not doing that. She understands the space and, you know, the need for, you know, that language in certain spaces. But she still, you know, she gonna ride for me.
Yeah, I thought she was supposed to be here at the studio today, you know, but I was like, oh.
I would have brought her, but yeah, you know, she wants to come and, you know, she loves you, so.
I know. But tell me about, like, you talked about like the way you were before motherhood and after motherhood, and I was talking about, you know, how I met you during motherhood. Do you think like location played a part of that? Because I know like you're originally not from here.
Yeah, so I'm from Newark, New Jersey. You know, I grew up in the hood of hoods. I love where I come from, but I'm excited. You know, I've been excited moving here. Definitely a change of scenery, you know, is helpful. Up there, you have to be more gritty. You do have to. Down here, it's a bit slower pace. But still, there is a lot more advantages that are here that I didn't have up there. There's a lot of advantages for, you know, my kid, you know. My kid's in gymnastics. Where was I putting her in gymnastics in the hood? Like,
that's
putting off of, you know, beds and stuff. Like, she's down here getting into a craft, something that can put her in a good spot in college, you know, help her make money. You know, it opens up a lot of doors for her. Coming down here opened a lot of doors for me too. Actually, in my profession outside of poetry, I thought I'd be coming down here, you know, taking a step back, you know, cost of living differences. I moved down here and I've made the most money I've made in my life in my profession. I love it, you know. I would never move back north.
Never?
Never. I don't like the cold. I didn't like shoveling snow. I didn't like that houses were on top of each other. I didn't like public transportation and potholes. I hated it. And I don't think I realized it as much until I got out of there.
Yeah.
And it's like now I dread going home. Like, I get there and I be like, I turn and burn, let's go. What did we come up here for? Let's tackle that and let's
tackle that. Like, what's the assignment here?
Yep, let's go. You know, I moved down. A year, 2 years later, my parents moved down. And I was like,
oh, now I don't even got a reason, you know?
Yeah, I got, you know, I have some family up there, some aunts, some cousins, you know, but again, I'll see you on a barbecue, a little family reunion.
Not a barbecue.
A barbecue on a Saturday. I will drive up Saturday. I can get there by 1 o'clock. This barbecue is over at 8, 9. I'm hopping on the road and I'm coming back.
And that's crazy because most people, when they make that transition, like the South brings a sickness to them. Like, you know, they don't, that ability to adjust, it just ain't there.
I breathe fresh air down here. It's pollen in it, but still, like, I love it.
The pollen is thick and it's crazy around this time, but I understand that. You know me, I was a Southern boy. You know, like I'm in the South, basically my whole life. But uh, the further you go up on the East Coast, the culture and energy is just different. You know, even when you came down here, you still had that grittiness to you, like in your poems. I think like one of the first couple of poems I heard from you was like the poems you did today, or either like suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was good, and it had that rawness to it, you know, and that's how I was introduced to Letitia.
Yeah, I was wrong, but I was raw with the filter. I think it's like I talked around my issues. I talked around the pain. There was just so much stuff that I didn't want to talk about per se. So you got poems that were like hot or cold, like boom, aggression, aggression, aggression. I wrote my best poems when I was angry, and I was like, forget everybody, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everybody. And, that's not necessarily me. Like when people know me, they know I'm super sweet. I will give someone a shirt off my back. I will wash it for them. I'll be like, hey, here's $20. Clearly you need it. Like, but you have to be aggressive.
Tell me about that anger. Like, what did you have to be angry about?
People is just mean. And I think I got tired of people walking over me and taking advantage of me being nice and me being sweet and me, loving as hard as I did. People just like took and took and took. And when you're a giver that can't stop giving, if you get around a taker, they will bleed you dry.
Yeah.
And I was around a lot of takers, and it stole so much from me that I didn't.
You feel like a lot of times we personalize that though?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have no other, like, what can I do?
Yeah.
Like, I blame myself. Maybe if I stopped giving, they would stop taking.
But givers gonna give and takers gonna take. It don't matter, I think like I hear my grandma voice say that. So it's kind of like you saying you're a giver. Like I really resonate with that. And you got to learn balance too. Just because you can don't mean you should.
Yep. And like knowing your boundaries, setting boundaries. I always say, hey, when people ask you for something, I will never give it if I'll be extremely upset if I don't get it back. If you ask me for $5, if I could lose that $5 and never see it again, here, $5 yours. I'm not hurting for it. But if I need to keep circling back with you because I need that $5, I shouldn't have gave it to you.
Like, run me my $5.
Because it's going to hurt me if you don't. So I'm never giving anyone that power. I'm not giving something to them that will hurt me if they don't give it back.
That's a good principle. And even that connects to motherhood because the principles and boundaries you set, you have a little person here watching you set those boundaries. You have to stand on the things that you say.
Absolutely. But she is the only one that I can ever give unconditional love to. Because like kids is kids. Kids gonna hate you. Kids they're not gonna know how to really love you. You need 5 minutes. They really don't care. Like you gotta understand that. She's the only person, because she ain't asked to be here. Like I brought her into this world, right? She ain't asked to be here. She's here because I wanted her to be here. So I gotta give her all the grace. So she is the only one that can take advantage of me. But low key, like, you've seen my kids. They're cute.
Yeah. And like very self-aware for her age too. And I think like that comes from you. It's like it's all over you. And she's literally like a spitting image of you. Like down to the.
I be trying, but then sometimes I be like, oh, what did I do to this child? Why? Like when she tells me no, like, well, you taught me how to say no, and I'm like, yes, the context of me teaching you that was not it. But
That's
you are
good,
right.
Though. That's good though.
My mama would kill me if I.
But that's the goal, to be the better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. My relationship with my mom and my kid, like I've taken my mother places that she's never been in her life. I've exposed her to things that she's never been exposed to. I say the same thing for my child. My child will be doing the same thing for me in 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
She ain't going to be able to, like, no little nappy-headed boy going to be able to walk circles around her.
Right.
trying to take her down to Myrtle Beach for a little trip, she gonna be like, "What? You going cruising?"
You said a
Like,
standard, really? Exactly.
Africa. Like, come on, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
This little date?
Not no,
I'm going on dates all the time.
not no nappy headed boy. Like, dang, why he can't have a comb or some wave? He got to be
A
nappy.
fresh haircut and a smile. Okay, none of these little nappy headed boys. No, absolutely not.
I was gonna say that I've never heard you talk about work in poems, but that's a lie. But you got one poem.
I do have.
You do have that one poem.
Yeah. There's more.
Oh, really?
There is more. Like because I work in human resources, I have to protect the companies that I work for all the time. I face, many opportunities of, potentially being sued because of my profession. Hey, wrongful termination, discrimination is real. So it's hard to take something from that scenario, translate it in a way that can be potentially aired and go viral. And then people like, oh, you just terminated such and such and such person and put two and two together, and now I got a lawsuit. So I have to
find that middle ground.
How to do the middle ground. But crazy, the no poem came from work. Like, and that's, a situation happened at work where someone, called someone a nigga, and I was like, this is crazy, and I was like, hey, I'm trying to figure out, explaining all these things to my kid. How can I scope that? And it's like, I teach her these things, but what if, hey, concept of the poem is, hey, shifting, make people think I'm doing this and actually be doing this. And came out great.
No. The best reaction I seen from that poem was, you already know what I'm talking about, as So Fried, when the whole crowd was like, oh, like waiting for you to say no, but nah, you really, so you're good. Your writing, I've seen it over the years. Like, I got to take this time now to say, like, you've inspired me, going to national competitions like So Fried and seeing you do the damn thing. Like, it's been times where you came to me, you're like, hey, like, leave it on the stage.
That's right.
Like, having that ability to pour into people, and I just wanted to give you flowers while I could. For sure. Tell us about some, like, challenges that you still face in your writing, like stories that you haven't told and what's holding you back from that.
I'm just now getting to a place where I can be a bit more vulnerable in my, writing. I think I did it a little when I first started, out of anger, but now I'm writing about all these different emotions.
Powerful.
My fears, like I'm writing about like being scared to be a mom. I'm writing about the sadness in my life, the grief in my life, and it's hard to express that in a way that is beautiful, but then also be open enough to share it with a whole bunch of other people for them to judge you. Yeah.
A room full of strangers.
Yeah.
It's literally insanity when you really think about it.
Oh.
The amount of vulnerability it takes, and the confidence.
Yeah. And it's like, the reason I started performing, I never wanted to. I just knew that I wanted to write. I was like, I just want to write these poems, but I'm like, all these people getting on stage, I want people to hear my stuff. I think it's good.
That's fair.
And it's like, all right, you got to get on stage and do it. And I was like, no, somebody else can't read my stuff. Poetry is the only, writing craft or performance craft where it is not, applauded for you to perform someone else's work. Rappers, singers, they will sing other people's songs. Rappers got ghostwriters all the time.
Yeah.
A poet can't get up there and spit somebody else's poem.
Yeah.
They respect it.
If I go out there and do your poem, they're going to be like, that's Letitia poem.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Here, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to get up there and do it, and it's addictive.
Yeah.
It's like, when you do it and you do it right and it's good, it's like leaving it there is just like thrilling. It's
a switch for you too, though. Like, you've trained it to be a switch. Like, I literally saw you do it a few minutes ago in real time, and I think that's the caliber potential, and it just shows. So what does it take to get there, though?
Oh, it's countless hours. I'm encouraged by a team of people. From the time that I started slamming, though, I've had some great people in my corner that have helped me get there, and it was not easy. You saw me on a better end of the curve, but I was terrible in New Jersey.
When did you start?
I started performing in 2012. I probably started slamming 2014, and I was losing left and right. I was trying to make a team in New Jersey, and I was losing. I lost like 3 years in a row. I never made the team. It's so little.
But each year, I bet you got better.
Eventually, I had to. I had no choice. I was trying to make the team. That was the goal. The end game was, hey, making the team. And it's like when I finally made the team, I was like, oh, mission accomplished. And I was getting coached by I call him Uncle Starsky, but Starsky in New Jersey, he was coaching me on my performance, and he's like, calls me TT, because that's,
Yeah.
So he's like, TT, you made the team, what's next? I said, that was it. I just wanted to make the team.
Just want to make the team.
I just wanted to say I did.
I did.
I could. And he's like, no, now you got to go slam the team. You got to get there. You got to do this. You got to practice with them. You got to do this. And I was like, what? I started going to practices, and it was hard work. They like, you get 30 minutes to run these indies. Go ahead, run these indies. I would stall, talking on the microphone, playing for 22, 27 minutes.
But you still got to run these indies.
But I only had 3 minutes left. I was bluffing my way through it. And then I'm like, I'm never going to get what I need out of this.
You don't put it in.
And then one day I flipped the switch. I showed up, and they was like, you've been practicing. I'm like, let's go. I'm ready. And from there, it was like, no stopping. I'm not wasting my time at these practices.
What made you want to just break that fire, though?
I see other people advancing, and I see that I'm not getting anything out of it. I see that I have the opportunity to get put in these bigger platforms, but if I am put there, it's going to look like I don't belong. So I want to, invest in my craft. I want to, practice to make it, flawless. I want to do better for myself. Otherwise, I'm just going to be, the girl that happened to the team,
right?
The girl that happened to have a good hit one time.
Yeah. Like you got halfway there, but you didn't follow through.
Yeah. I was like, I can't do that. I didn't want to be the weakest link.
Yeah.
I want to add value in any way that I can.
I felt like that the first year on the team.
You were not.
Yes.
You were not.
Yeah, I know. Only reason I say that is because there was one moment, I ain't gonna say the specific moment, but there was a moment on the team where it was like a group collective decision. And I felt like the decision should have been me. But looking back, I realized I didn't put nearly the practice or hard work that it took for me to be that person. And that put a fire on me. And I know it did, because I remember coming next year for the slam, the Detour Slam next year, and I was like, I want the one spot, and I think we all tied for what?
Oh yeah, that was the year that we all tied for the
one. That was crazy. We all tied for the one, which is crazy.
Yeah, 30s in the last round is
30s in the last round is crazy. Yep.
Yeah. You were not the weakest link. We all had something that we can give. We all had value to give. We had to recognize what that value was in each moment. I think, like, you guys looked at me as, hey, I was on this hot shot team from New Jersey, but I was like, yeah, it took me 3 years, and a whole lot of people didn't show up to that slam. Like, I accidentally, I made it. I was good enough to make it, That's what's going through my mind, and I was like, hey, I want to get down there, and I don't feel experienced at all. Like, I felt like I was struggling. I was like, oh, okay, we on this team. Oh, okay. Like, they see something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Yeah.
But we thugged it out. We both grew from that.
Yeah. Even looking back, the initial Detour Slam, the team slam was packed crazy. Like, the community came out, and that was my first time ever experiencing any of y'all. That was my first time experiencing you. That was my first time experiencing Nick. And I was telling him, like, people was literally holding up signs, stomping their feet when you was walking. He's like, no, no, no. I'm like, no, they weren't. It literally was like, and you too. It was just like y'all set a standard. So the whole time I'm trying to keep up. Like,
Look, so I came down the year prior, or that summer before I moved. I moved to North Carolina in August. That June, Southern Fried was in Fayetteville. I knew I was moving, so now I'm peeping to see what teams is down here. And I saw Detour, so I saw Nick Corman. I got footage of Nick. I was like, okay. So when I walked in Detour Slam, for the show, I was like, all right, Nick gonna win.
yeah,
I was like, Kiera was in the room.
Kiera was in there.
And I was like, Nick, she gonna come in second. I was like, I was seeing.
I don't think she slammed though, did she?
She didn't slam.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, I was very happy.
I think she was sacked.
I don't know. In my mind, she wasn't.
I remember she was there though, because she told me, she was like, I think you should go out for the Detour Slam thing. I was like, what's the Detour Slam thing?
Yeah, no, I was coming down here and I did some ridiculous poems.
Yep.
I was like, I had Crazy Girl. I was wild and crazy talking about
Crazy Girl, because you must think I'm
crazy. Oh my gosh. It was, and I think that it worked because it was so new and different, but if I was to do something like that now, they would look at me weird.
Yeah.
Like, no, like weird. But I did it with confidence. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I can do a whack poem with confidence and people be like, I gotta believe in it though.
Yeah. And that's the presence you assume anytime I've seen you step on the stage, is that confident.
Oh, there's sometimes there be like butterflies everywhere. I be scared.
I believe it. I think we all do, truthfully, but at the same time, it goes back to like the root of like where you initially tapped into that artistry. So like, what was that starting point? Where did your love for poetry start?
It started in elementary. I mean, it was a kid came to school and read a poem and everybody liked it. And I was like, I want to be like that. And then I went home and wrote a poem.
Not that ego.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I went home and wrote a poem too. It rhymed. I was like, okay. And then everybody liked my poem. And then we went back and forth for like 3 days, little poem.
Yeah, little poem.
Little A-B rhyme patterns and stuff. And I was like, okay, and then getting into like elementary, high school, everything was boys and relationships and friends. And I was writing all these poems. I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of these poems of everything that I was going through because I didn't have anyone to talk to about it. It was like a diary. It was my senior year. I got an opportunity to audition for an audition to make it onto Def Poetry Jam.
Oh, that's dope.
Audition. Like it was.
But that's an opportunity though. And at the time, Def Poetry, there was nothing like there. There's still to this day has never been nothing like Def Poetry Jam.
And it was like they told you what the poem needs to be. Right, you need to write a poem about a current event and how it impacts your community.
Yeah.
That was kind of the standards. I was like, okay, this was 2004 going into 2005. And I'm writing about politics and, in the Black community and, the electoral college and the popular vote. I'm writing all this, all this stuff. That's all I had. That one poem. Made it. I was like, all right. They're like, all right, you made it. Let's go. You got to go to this audition.
I ain't never heard this story before.
Yeah. They're like, hey, you got to go to this audition. So I was like, when's the audition? They was like, oh, we'll keep you posted on when the audition is. I've always been a workaholic, right? So my senior year, I got prom. I got all this stuff coming up. I had 2 jobs. I was working at a skate rink and I was working at Rita's Water Ice, right?
Sound about right.
Yep. Yeah, I'm hustling. Yeah. I'm making money, And they come back to me on like a Friday. All right, auditions tomorrow at Arts High School. You got to be there. You need 3 poems. 3, right? Y'all told me.
Y'all told me 1.
I was like, nah.
And I dedicated to this one.
To this one. This one is good. And this is all I got. What I submitted is all I got. They was like, hey, you need 3 poems. Because if you make it through each round, you need to make it.
Right.
I was like, all right. So I go home. I tell my parents. They're like, okay, so what you want to do? I said, well, I got this shift at the skate rink tomorrow morning. And then, at night, I got Rita's, They're like, what you want to do? It's your decision. And I was like, all right,
That's good.
if I waste my time on this one poem that I got for this audition for the audition, like, I'm like, or I can go make this money. I decided to go make this money.
Yeah.
A friend of mine went. She was a junior. And she went. And she's like, hey, it was great. I made it to the second round. And I was like, like, I wish, I regret that decision.
Yeah.
I definitely regret that decision. I feel like it would have aligned me with more people in that community while I was there. But I was like, hey, I'm a workaholic. So it was years before I tapped back into poetry. And an aunt stumbled across a flyer and she was like, didn't you used to write poems here? And she hands me this flyer for a slam. It was close to home, and I was like, okay, it was recurring like every second Friday. I was like, okay. My car was in the shop. I said, when I get my car back, I'm gonna go to the next one. Got my car back. I was like, all right, I'm going. I remember getting to the spot. I don't know anyone. I walk in, and it's funny. I walk past like person at the door taking the money. I walked in. I just sat down, scared. I'm just trying not to be seen. And then I see them, like talking. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't pay. I need to go pay before I get kicked out. I don't want to draw more attention to me. I go back and pay them. They're like, hey, have you been to a slam before? I was like, no. So you want to judge? Like, okay, I don't know how to do it. They're like, yeah, no, you could judge. I said, okay. I sit down, they talk through the rules, they do all this stuff. And they're like, the first poet goes up. And I didn't know what the heck they was talking about. But the crowd was going crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, clearly this means it's good. 10. 10.
I should be an easy judge.
I didn't know I didn't know what they was talking about. It sounded like they was talking in a different language. I swear all the poems was going over my head, right? I'm like, oh, high score. A girl, Blackberry Molasses, God rest her soul. She did a poem called Jump Rope, and it was just about girls in the hood playing double dutch.
So
I was so upset that I had wasted my 10s. I was so upset.
you're like, they ain't deserve them 10s, but this one, she did it.
This resonated. And I was like, okay, that's how I want to be like that. I want to write poems that people understand.
And that was your standard.
That was my standard. I was like,
Once it feel the room.
Yep, that's it.
Everybody.
And you can follow it from top to bottom. Anybody can follow it. I was like, that's how I want it to be.
That's an experience because you experienced a full night of poems just going over your head, and in truth, you're probably just mimicking the scores that you saw them get too.
Oh, absolutely.
And then someone comes on stage and makes you feel something.
And I was like, I want to be like that.
And they birth the seed.
Yep. I was like, oh, when I want to be just like that. And it took me some time, lots of time. I'm reading from my notebook all the time. And then someone was like, how come she didn't get a feature yet? And I was like, me?
Yeah.
And then I started getting booked. I had one hit poem that I knew from memory. One hit poem. I was getting booked left and right. And I say booked like it was money. It was $50 features.
Hey, you started off somewhere, Listen, we know people that feature now and they...
Hey, I was happy for my little $50 features. Y'all get this one little hit poem at the end, make y'all cheer while I'm walking off stage. I get a little bit of other stuff. And then it shifted from that to wanting to slam. It shifted from slamming to wanting to get back to the writing space. Like you start slamming and you know what your hits are.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's about to get your 30s. That's it. Ain't broke, don't fix it. I had to step out of that. I was in that rut for probably the entire time that I had been down here. Y'all was hearing the same poems. Forward Lucky. Y'all was getting one new poem.
But they was winning. Ooh, they was winning. And even being on a team with you, it was crazy to be in rooms and never experience it. And it felt like you still get to experience those poems for the first time.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard photosynthesis. I'm just like, Tisha been writing her ass.
That poem was close and dear to my heart. I remember I love Nick. Nick's my
Shout out ADC Poetry.
yes. I remember texting him like, I want to write this poem. This is what I got so far. I feel like it's too vulnerable. Like I've needed to figure out a way to express the grief of losing my sister and finding a way to share that didn't break me on stage. So it's like, this is me. Like, I don't like flowers. I don't like the concept of flowers. How can I relate that to my sister? My sister knows how much I hate flowers, and let's talk through this. And that he's like, don't give up on this. Like, do not. I was like, hey, then I go back and I'm doing this. He's like, do not give up on it. And we're in the middle of slam season. And my coach is like, I don't think you're ready to write it. And you're not going to tell me I'm not ready to write this poem. I'm ready to write it. And he's like, you're not ready. And I'm trying to argue it while not breaking down in tears. Because I knew if I would have broke down in tears, he definitely would have said no.
That was a confirmation.
So I'm like, I knew I wasn't. But this poem was about to be fire. I knew it. I finished writing a poem, memorized the poem, showed the practice. And I do the poem and they're like, oh, okay.
That's one of the ones.
Yeah. Then they put me on stage to do the poem, around other teams. And I just remember stepping back from the mic, turning around to collect myself. And I swear I was like collecting myself for like 3 minutes, like to the point where like everyone is like, yo, is she okay? Like I hear them talking in the audience like something's wrong. I just needed to really make sure I
had to get me together.
Yeah.
In order to present me to y'all. Like,
yeah. And then I turn around and I do the poem and everyone loves the poem. And I got the people from the other teams coming up to me doing the poem, talking about like the poem. And it was like, yeah, you was talking about a science experiment and this, that, or whatever. And he was like, but that's a poem.
That's a poem.
Like,
well,
I was so proud to slam that poem.
You should.
Southern Fried.
That's a good poem. Good poem. Speaking of poems, before, you get up out of here, which I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate your vulnerability, your transparency. But before you get up out of here, tell the viewers a little bit about the performance that they're about to receive. Information behind the poem.
So the poem is about life and pretty privilege. And when I wrote it, it was more so before pretty privilege and cute privilege was like a thing. And I was like, no, it's real. Like if you are attractive, you get a lot of advantages. It depends on what you do with them. How can I express this to, my daughter, my stepdaughter? Like these are the advantages that you can potentially, get throughout your life just from being cute girls. I wanted to show that. I wanted to make people aware of it as well, that, hey, it's a good thing, but it can also be seen as a bad thing. And it made me really want to express that and let people look at it from a view of a mom.
That's good. That's really good. I appreciate you taking the time just to sit here and talk with us. It's been amazing. And we appreciate all our viewers and subscribers. Make sure y'all tune in next week and stay locked in with y'all.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
No problems, of course.
When my daughters are old enough to see that the shade of their skin is different, when they question why they had the same father but not the same mother, I will tell them none of that is relevant. Context of America will tell them that they are privileged, right? When my daughters ask what is privilege, I'll tell them privilege is a double-edged sword. It can be an aid as well as an affliction, and Black privilege is a mountain to get over. Documented movement that your history books will forget to tell you about. And white privilege is the ability to forget everything that was left out. White privilege will forget the names your mamas gave you, call you cute girls. My daughters ask about their privilege, I will tell them, pay attention in math class. With your cute girl privilege comes cute girl problems and not all equations have solutions because Black girls will question it. If you're beautiful, is Black enough? White women will question if you're beautiful, is too dark. Black men will recognize your beauty only when it's too late, only when a white man notices first, and a white man will always notice that you are Black. You mean beautiful first, but to them, you would just be cute for a Black girl. So when my daughters ask me, what does a cute Black girl get from life? I would tell them, life gives Black men front page story, newsline. Life gives white women, white men, good credit. Life gives white men lemons, teach him to make lemonade, funds him to build a lemonade stand that he franchises in the hood and then gentrifies the entire Black community for life. But it was generous to cute Black girls. Life gives cute Black girls magic. Slogan. Then turns around and gives them a choice because they're cute. Cute Black girls can either fuck their way up the corporate ladder or get accused of fucking their way up the corporate ladder. So when my daughters ask me, what is a cute Black girl to do? I tell them, choose wisely. Society treats beauty, privilege to cute Black girls. Cute Black girls become the martyr of a double-edged sword. On one end, it's a ticking time bomb waiting to self-destruct. On the other end, it's a grenade. It's a ticking time bomb that is the bomb diggity, and it's Black. And it's brown. It could be blue if you wanted to, and it is grace, power, and strength, and it is mine. And I passed it down to you, and it is yours. Is all that. Gratitude. Serve it to the world with a coke and a smile. So when my daughters ask me for permission, I would tell them, go in my kitchen and get a knife. When life hands you lemons, you cut those lemons in half and squeeze them into everyone's eyes. You turn their tears into water. You turn that water into tea that you sit our pinkies out at our next tea party when you're old enough. You turn their tears into fine wine that gets better with time. Let's get drunk. All your beauty.